818.
ETV Live is proud to bring you live flag-to-flag coverage of week number 12, the final week of the USTRA Triple Crown Series, live tonight from the Homestead Miami Speedway here in Miami-Dade County in Florida. Hello everybody, my name is Justin Rosenau. Joining me in the booth tonight here, making his return here to the Triple Crown Series, Evan Pasoko, and alongside us in the booth, the promoter himself, Eddie Walczyk. Guys, how are you doing?
Hey, it's good to be back again. 2 weeks I've been missed out on the racing here at the USTRA. We're going a little bit different than we normally do. A big track here, Homestead Miami Speedway, but with the Silver Crown cars, should not disappoint like always.
We got 15 cars here for the race tonight here, and 11 of those taking time here tonight. Title here has been clinched. Evan, Vinny Sansone locked it up here about a week or so ago. Sansone, your champion here in the Silver Crown Series. Don't know quite the results of the sprint car race this week, but Sansone looked to possibly take 2 out of the 3 titles here. Nathan Saxon in the Tour Modified stops Vinny Sansone from completing the Triple Crown. Great job by all drivers this season, Evan. What are your thoughts going into tonight?
Oh, definitely. I mean, Vinny Sansone obviously deserving. You mentioned, I believe, he locked up 2 of the 3, so he couldn't quite get that Triple Crown, but a great effort for him, for sure. I also think you got to tip your hat to Paul Williams in this series. He's led over 850 laps over the course of this season, so just a whole lot of great racing that we've seen, but Vinny Sansone definitely deserving to take home the championship.
Definitely, and as we get ready to get the starting lineup here set for you, as we start loading onto the track, we'll go through your starting lineup here. Starting on the pole for tonight's event, the 4 of Jeffrey Mays with a time of 29.619 seconds. And starting to the outside of him, completing your front row there, Thomas Wargula in the 5 car with a 29.652 second lap.
The fast cat here starting in the 3rd position inside row 2. It's the number 3 of Ryan Steele. Then starting outside row number 2 in the 4th position, it's going to be the number 1 of Paul Williams.
Inside row number 3 is going to find the 12 of Brian Elmore with a 29.699 second lap. And starting to the outside of him in the 6th spot, the 6 of Joe Folkred.
Starting in the 7th position, the number 7 of Thomas Armstrong. Starting in the 8th position, points champion, the number 2 of Vinny Sansone.
Completing your top 10 tonight is going to be a bunch of series regulars here tonight. The 10 of Ronald Williams with a 29.843 second lap. And starting outside of him is going to be the 13 of Daniel Mew.
Inside on row number 6 in the 11th starting position, the last car to take a time is the number 9 of Ian Seeley, running a qualifying time of a 29.891. And then outside him, starting in the 12th position, is the number 8 of Brett Reynolds.
Rounding out your field tonight, the bottom 3 drivers not taking time, the 11 of Marcus Dean, the 14 of Eric Omont, and the 15 of James Stone. 60 laps on the board here tonight at this 1.5 mile speedway here with some about 24-degree banking or so in the corners, Evan. Just watching practice, this is like Talladega for these Silver Crown cars here tonight, so we may see pack-style drafting all night long.
Oh, it's definitely going to be a wicked night out. Definitely 29-second laps. These things are going bad fast around this racetrack. You mentioned 1.5 miles in length and oval shape. Progressive banking, 18 to 20 degrees. 3 degrees in the straightaway. It's a little bit different again, like we normally do here. Normally some short track racing, but hey, it should be a great night.
The Ford First Mustang pace car looks to make that hard left-hand turn onto pit road and does so. And the green flag in the air. Jeffrey Mays stands on the hammer as he gets a good jump over the 5 of Thomas Wargula. Everybody looking to get single file here before turn number 1. And the first battle on the racetrack is going to be for the 6th and 7th spot there as Brian Elmore gets out in front of the 2 of Vinny Sansone. Actually, Sansone getting around Elmore, Sansone looking to make up positions, not having the best of time here in qualifying here for tonight.
Yeah, definitely looked like that top line got the better start on that restart, which would eventually give Sansone that advantage. And now we're side by side up front, 2 rows after a checkup. Jeffrey Mays now going to drop back into the 3rd spot. That's going to put Paul Williams up into that lead position after a wiggle there going into turn number 4. So now Williams in that top position, followed by Ryan Steele in 2nd after, again, a big wobble. Now we're side by side for the 4th spot. Actually, Joe Fuckerod is going to hang on to that position as Vinny Sansone was taking a look to the inside. Now Sansone on the inside of Thomas Wargula through turns number 3 and 4. He has the advantage right now on that bottom. They're going to negotiate it down the front straightaway. Wargula's going to hang tough, but Sansone with the advantage.
Sansone with the advantage into turn number 1. Sansone can't quite clear the 5 of Thomas Wargula. They need to get single file if they want to catch that pack up there, and they do so as Sansone does clear Wargula coming out of turn number 2. Everybody mostly single file on the racetrack right now. The key to this track here tonight for everybody watching on ETV Live is going to be trying to stay in line and try to pull out just like they used to do in the old NASCAR days before the days of tandem racing and the like. You had cars getting single file and trying to pull out away from one another. As the front 6 cars now are broken out into packs of 3, and there's about 5 cars right behind them there for positions 7 through 12, all running single file right now, trying to get together in a big pack. This track, it'll be at 1.5 miles, but they're putting down really fast laps, and they're running about 180 miles an hour off into turn number 1. That's pretty fast for these cars.
Oh yeah, definitely, and I mean, one big difference between these and, say, running one of those old Cup cars is these guys are almost sideways all the way through the corner. You see the back end just a little bit stepped out. You see the drivers wiggle up the track, try to find the grip. Williams with the wiggle there, so now here comes Ryan Steele all the way to the fuel tank on that back bumper, does not make a move to the inside, tries to give that one a little bit of a push, try to bump draft him going into turn 3. So, I mean, they're really trying to work that wheel kit as much gas in it as possible and hang on to the grip, and that's why you'll see him shaking, going up the racetrack as that rear end steps out. But it looks like Ryan Steele in no hurry to make a move on the leader right now. Paul Williams, he's had some chances the last 2 exits of the corner that last time, but it looks like he just gets right up to the fuel tank of that number 1 and pushes him down the straightaway to try to maximize speed.
Definitely, but the second pack of 3 there with Joe Fulker and Vinny Sansone Wargula, they're staying in line and not dicing, and I noticed the 4 of Jeffrey Mays in the 3rd spot. He's ducking his nose on a line and can't quite stay with the front 2 cars of Paul Williams and Ryan Steele. Ryan Steele, the madman in this series. We haven't quite had the chance to feature him here in a broadcast in quite some time here in the Silver Crown cars. He loses a little ground there, getting a little too sideways there in turns 1 and 2, but the madman is no stranger to excitement here in these Silver Crown cars. Look for him to possibly be a force before the end of this race. These guys are probably just saving tires here in the early running here as we come by, this time by on the stripe, having to complete lap number 7.
Definitely Ryan Steele with the 8 wins so far in the season. Obviously not all of those broadcasted. We've known that he's had fast cars every time we're live here on ETV Live. Sometimes the qualifying hurts him and he has to work his way up to the field. Did a good job of that tonight, qualifying in 3rd, riding around in 2nd. Definitely has a fast car. You mentioned every time Mays kind of sticks that nose out there into the bottom, trying to make a look maybe to the inside. He can't keep up with our leaders. It looks like if he stays in line behind them, he's definitely getting that draft to hang on to them. So it'll be interesting to see if, when you mentioned that pack behind us, in the 4th position, the number 6 of Folkrod, and then you have Sansone, Wargula. They're really not nose to tail like our leaders are, so it's going to be interesting to see if they can get something going here and try to actually draft in that single file line to get back up to our leaders.
Sansone definitely looks like he has the car to beat, starting a little deeper in the field than he normally does. Usually it hangs back, right around the 4th or 5th spot there as they go side by side. Wargula gets around the 2 of Sansone. Wargula back into the top 5 after starting on the front row. Sansone, though, one of the best drivers we've ever seen in these Silver Crown cars. He's certainly no stranger of just saving his stuff to the end of the race, and then out of nowhere, he just reappears, and usually he ends up in victory lane. So, Evan, I'm telling you, keep an eye on that 2 car here as the laps wind down, as we're coming this time by to complete lap number 10.
Yeah, definitely. Vinny Sansone making 29 starts so far in this season, 16 wins and 25 top 5s, and that's why he is going to be the points champion. Actually locked that up, I do believe, last week, mathematically locking up that position. So definitely a very fast car in that number 2 of Sansone. You made a good point there. He's starting a little bit farther back than we normally see, qualified 8. Right now he's sitting in 6th position. It's going to be a tough track to make up a significant amount of ground unless you can really work that draft properly. There's a little bit of a gap between him and the car in front of him, being Thomas Wargula, actually almost half of a second. So Sansone starting to maybe fall off of what you would call that lead pack here, trying to get up to Wargula in the number 5, stay in his draft, and then get back up with those lead guys and try to pick up some spots here as we work lap 12 of 60 at the Homestead Miami Speedway.
Folkrod and Wargula, they're creeping right up on the tail tank of the 4 of Jeffrey Mays. Mays usually sticks his nose out on the bottom side in turn number 4 and does so again, but he usually gets right back in line behind the tail tank of the 3 car. That's Ryan Steele. Steele just biding his time right behind the leader, Paul Williams. Everybody's trying to save a little fuel, possibly, maybe running a little light, trying to set themselves up for that last 5-lap run in these cars. That's really what they try to do. These cars are really, really loose, and as the fuel comes off the rear end, the car goes really, really tight in these cars. So definitely something to watch for as the last wind down. But something to keep in mind here is we almost go side by side here for the 4th spot, and we are. Wargula is challenging Folkrod in the 6th. The 5 of Wargula sticks right down on the bottom in turn number 1. Can he get the pass done? He's not in the draft, but yes, he does. Folkrod gives the position to the 5 of Wargula. Wargula usually starts well and then falls off towards the middle of the race, but right now he's in the top 5, and man, is he looking racy tonight, Evan.
And definitely, and it shows right there that if you're going to make a pass, it has to be calculated. You got to go to the inside. He did it very well there. Got side by side on that front stretch last time by the stripe. Made it work on the bottom without the draft, and that's really what the key is going to be to making these passes. Again, I go back to Ryan Steele. Steele has a very fast race car sitting in that 2nd spot. You see right now he pulls right up to the back bumper, the fuel tank there of Paul Williams, and pushes him a little bit, if anything, down that straightaway instead of making the move. So I think when it comes down to it, that 3 of Ryan Steele is constantly getting right back up to the back bumper of the 1 as compared to Jeffrey Mays. Jeffrey Mays really not getting as strong runs to Steele's back bumper as Steele is with Williams. So Ryan Steele definitely has a very fast race car, so keep an eye on him when it comes down to the end of the race. But yeah, Thomas Wargula very strong also. Actually, Vinny Sansone in the 5th position is 5/10 off, so he's in jeopardy of losing those top 4 cars rather in that lead group, which you could call the main pack. Over Sansone now has assistance as that 6 of Joe Folkrod gets that thing back underneath him and is going to get up behind Sansone. So let's see if those cars in the 5th and 6th position can do something and try to work their way back up there with Wargula.
One thing I want to point out here, just a few laps ago, you could throw a blanket all over positions 8 through 13, but the guys are getting themselves sorted out here, kind of single file. They need to get back in line and try to draft up as they're over 4 seconds back off the leaders right now. Side by side now for positions number 10 and 11, I do believe. The 8 of Brett Reynolds, the 10 of Ronald Williams, the 9 of the 9 of Ian Seeley. They're all swapping positions back and forth as they're side by side now for the 9th spot going into turn number 1. Give the advantage to Reynolds. He's on the outside right now. Williams is digging deep on the inside. Williams did very well at Phoenix and recovered to finish well inside the top 10, but the Reynolds right now in the 8 car holding it out on the top side, and Ian Seeley now putting the power move on the 10 of Ronald Williams. Says they almost make contact now out of turn number 4. Seeley goes high. Williams brings it right back down to the bottom. They almost got together, and that would have been a huge e-ticket ride here.
And side by side behind him now, Seeley on the top as you see that 10 of Ronald Williams on the inside trying to make that work. That time off the corner, the advantage is going to be that number 9 of Ian Seeley. He's going to clear Ronald Williams on the bottom to hang on to that spot for now. Williams trying to stay down there on the bottom, hoping that he could get a good enough entry to almost convince Seeley that he was still there. However, Seeley is going to pick up, or rather hang on to that 10th position. And how about this lead draft? Just 2 laps ago, I mentioned Vinny Sansone half a second off. Once Joe Folkrod got with up him, they are there. So Vinny Sansone in the 5th position is now on the back bumper of Thomas Wargula, along with Joe Folkrod in that 6th position, which makes this lead draft now a 6-car pack, and they have all caught them, so it's going to be a 6-car battle right now. 20 laps into this thing, already a third of the time is done, and Sansone's not wasting any time. He doesn't want to run in line because he's going to go to the inside of Wargula and try to make something work for that 4th spot.
Wargula has the better drive now coming out of turn number 2. Gets back into the 4th spot. Sansone not able to complete the pass. Folkrod's right on the tail tank of Sansone. These guys are looking to get a little bit dicey up here in the front pack. 20 laps down to make it 21 this time by. We got 39 laps to go here as we cross the stripe. These guys are looking to possibly blow the lid off this kettle anytime soon. Anything goes here in the draft. You want to get to the front and make yourself to be that second man in line, just like the madman Ryan Steele is right now. Steele looked like he's in the catbird seat right now, just letting Paul Williams make the first mistake here. These guys are biding their time, but some of them may get impatient, just like Sansone. He may make a move to put himself in that catbird seat here as the laps are ticking off here. 22 down, 38 to go here.
Every time you see that number 3 of Ryan Steele, maybe take a little bit of a look to that inside line. Everybody behind him, you see the accordion effect of that line. Everybody is trying to stay in the draft because that is oh so important at this Homestead Miami Speedway in these Silver Crown cars. It's going to be interesting to see when those leaders will make a move because you know, like similar to the old style NASCAR racing at the super speedways, that once you get up front, those guys behind you are going to get the draft, so it's going to be all about timing. But Sansone, again, in that 5th spot, going to the inside of Wargula. This time going to go in the corner. Let's see if he can make it stick. He's there, actually, on the inside of Mays, pushing up the track, trying to hang on to that number 2 car. Can't get it to stick. And now Wargula is going to come back on the top with company as the 6 of Folkrod now, looking to follow Wargula on the top. And we have cars in the wall.
13 of Daniel Muse, and I believe the 15 of James Stone just made side-by-side contact, and Stone now getting back underway. Hard contact into the turn 1 wall. These guys got side-by-side. No caution on the speedway yet, but tough luck for these guys here. They were running strong here at the back of the pack side-by-side. Gonna have to see how this all shakes out, and I believe the 14 of Eric Omot did get a little bit of damage as well.
Yeah, definitely the 15 car making pretty significant contact with that outside wall, taking blame for the incident, is right now on the service access road, going to come down pit road. His night most likely done. Muse may have some slight damage, so if a caution were to come out, I don't think that car would really be competitive in the draft, depending on what happened with that car with these exposed wheels, getting any sort of suspension damage, handling damage. We see how much our leaders are wiggling, so you definitely don't want to be up there with a car that's not 100%. So tough break for both of those guys. They were, however, about 9 seconds out of that lead group, so just a bad night going worse for those drivers at the back of the pack. Side by side for 5th, actually, Vinny Sansone hanging off a number 6 of Joe Folkrod, who is continuously trying to move forward. However, in the process, they've dropped back about 5-6 car lengths out of this lead group. They'll be back up there by the time we get to start-finish line. But just a lot of shuffling. Now you see the 5th position, or rather the 5 car in the 4th position. Apologies there. Thomas Wargula taking a look to the inside in turn number 3. Just a lot of looking and testing the waters here so these drivers know what they can do when it comes down to crunch time.
Definitely here, the top 6 are all single file here, all within about a half a second of each other right now on the racetrack at this moment in time. These guys are certainly testing the waters, looking to make sure what they got for that final 10-lap dash. Is the lid is going to be blown off this kettle. This thing's like a pressure cooker, Evan and Eddie. I'm telling you, these guys are going to be all out, balls to the wall here for the last few laps here. As Mays tucks his nose out of line, looking to possibly block an advance from the 5 of Wargula, and Sansone with that stock momentum from Mays throwing the block on Wargula. He's side by side. He's under Wargula, and now he's under Mays for the third spot. Gets sideways and saves it. Great save by the 2 of Vinny Sansone. Wow, that was a wreck that was about to happen, and somehow, some way, the Iron Man hangs on.
Yeah, he was sideways off of that corner for sure. We've seen he's been making aggressive moves to that inside. Just does not have the grip to make it stick. Just a couple of laps ago, he got to the inside of Wargulo. Actually, almost got to that left rear of Mays, but just could not keep that car, keep those tires under him on that bottom line in the middle of the corner. Washed up that time. Got a little bit more sideways than his liking for sure. Again, now the top 5 really close together. Not even half a car length off of each other through the corner again. This is pretty tame, I believe, for what we're going to see when this race comes down to it. With the draft, going to be so interesting. Actually, now Mays getting pushed out of line almost by that air, and now Thomas Wargula on the top trying to get around him. However, Mays almost moves up and scares Wargula to the top line. Mays going to hang on to his spot, and now Sansone going to the inside of Thomas Wargula down the back straightaway. Let's see how Sansone makes this entry, and can he make that car stick? Going almost all the way down to the white line, the car, the back end stepping out. He's hanging on for now, and he's side by side.
29 to go this time by. We'll give you a full field rundown in just a moment. Sansone looks like he's going to still pressure the 5 now going into turn number 1. The 5 of Wargula doing everything he can to hang on to Sansone. Looks like he's starting to get clear, but cannot clear him coming out of the corner. That outside line has the advantage, but as we're just past halfway, about ready to start, 28 laps to go, completing lap 32. We'll give you your full field rundown right now, and out front, and has been since about lap 2, the 1 of Paul Williams, and right behind him, the Ryan Steele, the Madman. He's in the second spot. In the third spot right now is going to be the 4 of Jeffrey Mays, and Vinny Sansone moves up into the 4th spot. Rounding out your top 5 right now is going to be the outside pole sitter of Thomas Wargula, and in the 6th spot, the last guy in the front pack there, the 6 of Joe Folkrod, and in the 7th spot, first car in the second pack is going to be, the 12 of Brian Elmore, and in the 8th spot is going to be the 7 of Thomas Armstrong. He's in the 8th spot, and in the 9th spot is the 10 of Ronald Williams. Marcus Dean rounds out your top 10, and the last car in the second pack in the 11th spot right now is the 9 of Ian Seeley. 2 cars that were caught up in the incident relatively here just a few laps ago here. The 8 of Brett Reynolds, he's 12 seconds off the leader right now. Last car on the lead lap right now is they're side by side, for the 3rd and 4th spot. Sansone and Mays take contact. Mays hard in the outside wall. No caution on the speedway at this moment.
Definitely race-changing incident up front for sure. Taking a look, hard battling. Sansone did not have that grip all night long there, trying to make it work on the bottom. Could not get it to stick. Jeffrey Mays getting turned by Sansone into the outside wall. Hard right front contact. His night is done. No caution flag is thrown, and that has broken up that 6-5 car pack that we saw at the front of the field, because now the leader Paul Williams has about 2 car lengths lead over Ryan Steele. Thomas Wargula within pouncing position, 0.6 of a second back in 3rd. Then it's about 1.5 seconds back to Folkrod in 4th, and Sansone over 3 seconds back now in 5th with some front end damage, and that changes the race, especially with the lack of the caution flag.
The lack of the caution flag here is going to be huge here as we complete lap number 36. 24 laps to go here as Wargula looks to possibly be in the capper seat. His Steele is starting to fall off. The leader of Paul Williams now coming out of turn number 2. Just a 3-car pack for right now. Don't know if Joe Folkrod's going to be able to run them down. Probably not looking that way here as he's over a second off the back end of Wargula. The top 3 right now are all within a blanket of each other, but as we go back further in the field here, about the 6th and 7th spot, these guys are all in a line right now. These 5 cars here, as we get a little sideways here for the 7th spot. The 7 of Thomas Armstrong gets sideways, allowing the 10 of Ronald Williams to start looking low. Going into turn number 1, not getting the job done right now. On the bottom is the 10 of Ronald Williams. On the outside right now, coming out of turn number 2, is going to be the 7 and 10. The 10 of Ronald Williams getting a better run that time, better than what I thought he would, especially with the high line, the way it's been working here. You could throw a blanket over position 7 through 10 right now on the racetrack, Evan.
Yeah, definitely. These guys have been going at it pretty much all race long. We were taking a look up front, obviously, where the important battles were going into high enough positions. But since those guys have been spread out, we can really showcase these guys really battling hard. Taking a look at this pack now, side by side with the number 7 and the 9 of Ian Seeley. Side by side going here into turn number 3, trying to make that work. A lot of shuffling going on in these positions right there, and then you got to take a look. I mean, they were 2 wide, 2 rows deep just that last time on the back straightaway, so this is really where all the action is, and it takes so much focus in this draft. 40 laps into this thing at a 1.5 mile track in a car that is this loose and this wild, as we've seen Sansone having struggling all night long. It's really taken a lot of focus and a lot of mental commitment to these drivers to continue to race this hard this long.
Points champion Sansone is now falling over 5 seconds back, and he's losing pace quite dramatically. And the guys behind him here in the 6th through 10th spots there, they're running him down by almost 1 second a lap, which is pretty amazing considering just how little damage there is and the loss of the draft. Tough luck for your points champion Sansone here in this race, as the 7 and 9, the 9 of Ian Seeley, the 7 of Thomas Armstrong are now side by side, and taking the spot now going into turn number 3 is Thomas Armstrong. So give Thomas Armstrong the A spot there as they go single file now, nose to tail, position 6 through 10 on the racetrack, and they're running down the 2 of Vinny Sansone.
And definitely Sansone does not have the draft of Folkerod in front of him, and with a damaged race car, he's only going to continue to lose positions as Elmore closing up to him here in the next few laps. In that number 12, only about less than a second off of Sansone, with these guys running single file for the time being. For the most part, actually, as we're side by side with Ian Seeley and Marcus Dean. Dean trying to make something work on the bottom, can't do it going into turn number 1. Other than that, these guys are going to catch Sansone. I don't know how Sansone's car is going to be handling in that draft with that front right damage that he received with that incident with the number 4 of Jeffrey Mays. So it'll be interesting to see how this happens, and if Sansone will drop eventually out of the top 10, depending on how good these guys have been running all night long.
17 laps to go this time by. I'm telling you, the top 3, there's a blanket on them, and they're just biding their time. That incident between Jeffrey Mays and Vinny Sansone put a damper on things up here at the front of the field. Gonna have to wait for about 10 to go for these guys to start making moves. I gotta believe that Ryan Steele is just waiting for the moment and hoping that Thomas Wargula will follow him, but you know, really the guy in the driver's seat right now at this stage of the race has got to be the 5 of Thomas Wargula, because he can choose whatever lane he wants and possibly make a 3-wide move and put him in victory lane here.
And definitely anything's possible here in the closing laps. Less than 15 to go, actually 15 to go this time by the stripe. The group starting to reform at the front of the field as much as it will, I believe, for the remainder of the race. Paul Williams, your race leader right now, followed by Ryan Steele. Steele's actually going to go to the inside right now, coming off of turn number 4. Steele, remember, been riding around in second place all night long. Now he's making his move for the lead going into turn 1. Let's see how that 3 car handles on the bottom. Looking pretty stout right now. Continues to be door-to-door right now with Williams coming off the corner. Keep an eye on that 5 of Wargula. Wargula can pretty much pick and choose whose draft he wants to take, but Steele and Williams continue to be side by side in 3. Steele with a little bit of a nose of an advantage coming off the corner, still side by side. Wargula's got a great view of this there, sitting in 3rd, but they're going to be side by side at the stripe. Give the advantage to Ryan Steele by 0.004 of a second that time by.
4 thousandths of a second. That's a blink of an eye, folks, here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. These guys are doing 190 mile an hour here as these tail tanks get less and less fuel in them. These guys are going ever faster and faster, and they just now dipped into the 29-second bracket here, closer towards the qualifying times. They're still side by side for the lead off of turn number 4. Paul Williams going to have the advantage at the stripe. I don't know if Steele is just laying back, just trying to make Paul Williams burn his stuff up just a little bit more. But going to have to see here if Wargula decides to make it 3 wide, and looks to does so, but wisely backs out of it coming out of turn number 2. Ooh. Going into turn number 3 as they almost had contact between the 1 of Paul Williams and the 3 of Ryan Steele. Steele gets out front, and the crossover move by Paul Williams side by side to the stripe give the advantage to Ryan Steele. But this ain't over, folks. I'm telling you, these Silver Crown cars with the draft are just as exciting as we witnessed at the Kansas Speedway, as Wargula now is under the 3 of Steele. And can he clear him out of turn number 2? No, he can't. Steele trying to draft back onto the tail tank of the 1 of Paul Williams. Paul Williams out front. Wargula's not going away, though, in turn number 3. Gets a little close, drives under the 3 of Steele, and clears them now coming out of turn number 4. Evan, 11 laps to go now here at home.
And definitely 10 to go next time by the stripe. We all remember that finish you mentioned. I don't know, this one could be even better with these 3 guys. Wargula could have easily made it 3 wide there, so I won't be surprised if we're 3 wide at the stripe when it comes down to who takes the checkered flag here. But it is, again, Williams up front after Steele getting loose going up that hill, and then Williams making the smart crossover. Wargula actually been able to hang on, and we saw him get around Steele. So Wargula sitting in that second position. That's where he started this race. So it's up to Ryan Steele now to see if he can get himself back into that second position. But don't count out that third place guy, because on this last lap, if our leaders go side by side, they're going to lose the draft. And who knows, that third place guy could come out of nowhere on the front straightaway. So it's all about positioning yourself and what you think your race car can do. All these drivers have a different plan in their head of how they want that last lap to go. It's not going to go the way any of them want it to go. But it's going to be interesting when it comes down to it to see who can make it work, as we have 9 to go.
9 laps to go here at the Homestead Miami Speedway, and Wargula is on the move, looking to the inside of your leader. Paul Williams now coming out of 2, tucks back in line, look to possibly make a run now going into turn number 3. Wargula looks low. The 1 of Williams shuts the door on the 5 of Wargula. Wargula digging deep, putting his nose right on the white line, possibly going side by side. No, he doesn't. He tucks it right back in line now. A look at the 3 of Ryan Steele, ever being patient there in the 3rd spot. He almost was looking to take advantage of the 5's possible mistake of dipping low at the stripe. These guys are nose to tail now. 8 laps to go, 7 to go next time by.
The laps continuing to wind down. Let's see who can make it work. Again, still 3 cars appear to be in contention for this, and who knows, could Joe Fulkrod go to victory lane in 4th spot, over 5 seconds back? But who knows what can happen with the leaders. What we've seen so far tonight with incidental contact, this race is definitely far from over. Again, laps continuing to wind down. Wargula about a car length off of the back bumper of Paul Williams. Ryan Steele dropping about 3-4 car lengths off, going to get a run up to them using that draft and possibly try to use that big run to make a move on Wargula for the second position. That inside line has to lift just a little bit, and that's what makes it so intense when they're side by side, as it is the shorter way around the racetrack, but with less speed. That's so that top line can hang in there and get that little bit of a run coming off of the corner. This time nearly 6 laps to go. Again, Williams, Wargula, and Steele. 1, 2, 3.
Throw a blanket over the top 3 guys as Steele falls about another car length off the back of the 5 of Thomas Wargula. This may be a 2-horse race here. The laps are winding down. 5 laps to go next time by. These guys are just being patient right now. Single file as Wargula looks to get a little bit better drive coming out of turn number 4. That's where Wargula may set up the leader, Paul Williams. On the last lap, we'll have to certainly see here as Steele possibly fading here in the late stages, falls another car length back off the 5 of Wargula. It really is looking like a 2-horse race here as we're coming up on 4 laps to go here.
I wouldn't count Steele out. This may be calculated. He may be trying to hang off there, so then once he gets that big run up to him, instead of backing off and staying in line, he might make a move. But if that's not the case, then Steele really in some trouble, but he's starting to chip away back on that lead of those two leaders. Right now, working lap 57 of 60. If a caution were to come out, the night has been done. No cautions yet to this point. We have 12 of our 15 drivers still on the lead lap, and some great racing that we've seen. That battle back there for the 8th position, that's still going on, but all eyes are up front as Wargula takes a look to the inside, that time in 3. This time they're going to work their way off of turn number 4, about a car length back. Ryan Steele losing ground, now about 0.5 of a second off of the race leader Paul Williams. Has he lost this main draft and lost the race for him? He's going to try to get as much draft as he can, but he is sliding all over the racetrack, and it might be too late for that 3.
Coming up on 2 laps to go, and this is the time where Wargula needs to make his move. He needs time to make it stick. Looking to the bottom, the 1 shuts the door on the 5 of Wargula. Williams looking to, can he take his second checker flag here on ETV Live here in the Silver Crown Series. 2 laps to go here at Homestead. Williams shuts the door on the 5 and puts it right back on the bottom almost. And he does about a low mid lane there as he runs half in the low lane, half in the middle lane there. It's just 2 cars now to the finish as Ryan Steele falls another 1/10 back of the leaders. Steele's car is all used up at the moment here. White flag this time by Wargula, doing anything he can right now to get around the 1 of Williams, but he needs to be closer to make it happen. Going into turn number 1, there's still nose to tail. Can Wargula make his move? He sticks it right on the bottom. The 1 of Williams shuts the door on the 5 of Wargula. I don't think Wargula has enough time to get it done. He's drafting right up on the tail tank. Wargula looking high, possibly setting up the 1. Now the 5 going low, coming out of turn number 4. Who's it going to be to the stripe? Checker flag in the air. There's contact. One of Williams goes around.
He ran out of gas.
Out of gas, I believe. Paul Williams just lost all of his speed off of turn number 4. Wargula rather, looked like he could not get it done. Went there to the inside. All of a sudden, the 1 car, Williams, loses all of his speed, gets turned into the inside wall. And how about that? The 5 of Thomas Wargula to victory lane. What a finish.
What a finish here, folks, on ETV Live. We're going to run through the field for you here when we come back from commercial break here. The post-race show here for the USTRA Triple Crown Series presented by Double Clutch Marketing. We'll be back right after this commercial message.
If you're a serious online racing enthusiast, you need Derek Spear Design, maker of high-quality, custom-built, and 50 caliber strong simulation racing products like button boxes, shifter pedals, component parts, and more. The advantage a championship sim racing driver needs. Rated 10 out of 10 by Inside Sim Racing TV. Check out his line of top-shelf sim racing products reasonably priced at DerekSpearDesigns.com and buckle in for a no-nonsense ride. DerekSpearDesigns.com today, cowboy.
Welcome back, everybody. Here, tough finish for Paul Williams there, coming to the finish line. Ran out of gas, I do believe. Tough luck for him here. One of the wildest finishes yet we've seen here. Drama filled to even the last second here on ETV Live. We'll go through your finishing order right here. Taking the victory tonight here after that incident out of turn number 4 is going to be the 5 of Thomas Wargula, getting his first victory here on ETV Live. Great job to him. Ryan the Madman Steele comes home second after that melee out of turn number 4. And Paul Williams, tough luck for him. He was the queen. Now he's the frog. He comes home in the third spot there on the bottom step of the podium. Rounding out your top 5 tonight is going to be the 6 of Joe Folkrod and the 12 of Brian Elmore. Vinny Sansone, after that incident with Jeffrey Mays there, he finishes in the 10th spot, so tough luck for him as well, the points champion. But Evan, what a race there. Just weird instances with not having the cautions early when we had them on the racetrack here, but a wild finish nonetheless here in these Silver Crown cars.
Oh yeah, definitely, and another amazing night out. I mean, again, a little bit different. We're at a short track. We're at a 1.5 mile oval with 20-something degrees of banking. But what a race! I tell you, you mentioned we didn't see the cautions that maybe some people were expecting with some of those incidents on track. It set up for a little bit of a different finish than we were expecting. First, we thought it were going to be 6. It was down to 3. Then it was down to 2. We thought, and then all of a sudden, Williams, unfortunately, running out of gas with just yards to go to the start-finish line. You can't ask for anything more exciting. Down to, you mentioned, the last closing seconds, and I mean, I'm not surprised because that's what I've come to expect here from the USTRA short track racing series here on ETV Live. So I guess it was a good week to come back.
Definitely, and I'm going to throw it to the promoter, Eddie Walczyk. Eddie, I know we didn't have a chance to throw it to you like normal on a broadcast, but you got to be, just absolutely crushed for Paul Williams after what happened there on the race.
The points, the way the points are shaping up, to have him out front, he was so close to the championship, and to have him come away with the win tonight, I thought he had it. I keyed the mic up and I started how I just was crushed when I saw that. I knew he ran out of fuel instantly.
And I'm going to throw it now to the second place finisher, Ryan Steele. Ryan, you've been no stranger to excitement here on ETV Live in the sprint cars and in the Silver Crown cars. Just give me what was your take on this race here and your take on the season?
It was a good race. I didn't run as well as I was hoping I was going to, but it was nice, good stuff. I'm actually looking at the replay right now to try to see what happened to Vinny. Do you guys see you guys have an opinion on that?
Yeah, Vinny was still, he had, that bottom line, you kind of got to lift a little bit, and he was trying to work that underneath there. Here's Vinny right now. I'm probably going to ask Vinny what happened to him himself rather than me put words in his mouth. Vinny, we're just trying to figure out, what happened to you. I know that we talked before the race, and you're talking about that low line. You got to lift a little bit, and with the car being as loose as it is early on, it just looks like you got loose a little bit there and come up and just ruined your night.
Yeah, well, ruined mine and Jeffrey's there. I was trying to cut it down there into the turn and still a little bit early in the run, and it just cut too good still. Caught the apron a bit, and needed about a foot more room there to save it, but Jeffrey was right there and didn't really have it. Kind of got into him and took us both out of the contention.
And Vinny, great job on taking the points championship, and we'll get your thoughts on that here in just a couple of moments here. Moving on to the third place finisher, Paul Williams. You had the lead up into the last couple hundred yards there coming out of turn number 4. You gotta be crushed, and with some of the exciting finishes you've had here on ETV Live, like going across the finish line backwards, losing to Vinny at Kentucky by a 5,000th of a second. I mean, just, one, tell us how your race was, and 2, just tell us about the season and just how crushing some of these losses are, especially with some of the things that have happened.
Well, the race was pretty much perfect. I think I about led every lap. I was thinking it was going to be kind of like Phoenix, but then
about 6 to go, it says you're going to run out of fuel. And I was like, oh shit. And I ran out of fuel, and I mean, I'm pretty pissed off right now, but that's kind of been the story of my season. I'm close, but it just feels like it's never enough.
Well, you did break through with the victory at Phoenix, and good job to you there. You know, you've had a lot of bad luck in the Silver Crown broadcasted races this season, crossing the finish line backwards at Kentucky Motor Speedway. Just, describe your season, especially for the broadcasted races. I mean, was it really just close racing and just finding yourself in the wrong place at the wrong time, or was it just a critical strategy error? I know the draft played a big part here tonight as well. Just was it poor strategy at times, or was it just bad?
Well, a lot of the races, like a couple of the races just came down to battles between me and Vinny, and I would just come up by these tiny little amounts. Kentucky, I came up by a short amount. Iowa was kind of a replay of Kentucky. And Milwaukee, I just kind of screwed up there, set my car up too tight. Really, I think I've had the speed all season. It's just maybe errors on my part and just luck have played into it.
Yeah, and tough luck to you, Paul. You've done a great job all season. Don't want to take anything away from you leading, I believe, 59, or excuse me, let's see, laps led. You did lead, I do believe, 57 of the 57 laps here tonight. Tough luck, with what happened there on the last lap, and tough luck on the broadcasted races. Hopefully we'll see you put it in victory lane and break through just that little bit extra. But I'm going to take it now, guys, to the points champion, Vinny Sansone. I know you've had a tough run of luck here on ETV Live in the broadcast races here for the Triple Crown Series. Vinny, I know this is not the way you wanted to close out the season, but you do take home the points championship in the Silver Crown Series, and I do believe possibly you did close it out in the sprint cars as well.
Yeah, pretty much limped across the finish line in both of those series. Well, the Tour Mods for that matter as well. But, great run to Nathan over there on his end there. He's got those things figured out. My rookie season, basically in those things, kind of, I took my battle scars with me. Learned from those. Maybe we'll try it again. And sprints, had a couple good battles, got lucky. Was a few competitors, but yeah, Silver Crown definitely the closest, most hard-fought series. Like with Paul, he was saying, even just on all our broadcast races here, with a battle at Dover, the last couple of laps to get him back around him for second. That ended up being pretty big. The Bristol race was a good one for me. Got back around him in that one. You can kind of say that the same thing for Kentucky and Milwaukee. Taking those both within the last few laps. All throughout the season, and just I think his first time throughout the series probably showed it there a little bit at the end, not having the car maybe tight enough or loose enough that exactly what you need, but even that all comes back down to luck on how the yellows fall out, and just racing luck.
Again, Vinny, you've done a great job in all three series all year long, and to end it the way that it has, I know it's tough for you, but you can't knock yourself, because you did take 2 of the 3 titles here in the Triple Crown Series. You got to be happy with yourself, and what are you looking forward to for next season?
Well, yeah, next season, haven't even begun to think about that yet. We got that big week next week with the breast cancer awareness races on Wednesday the 23rd. It's going to be the late models and tour mods at Thompson. Then we travel to Phoenix for the 24th with the sprint and Silver Crown. So, right now all the attention's being focused on those, and hopefully have 4 good events.
Paul,
Yeah.
I know that you had some trouble. You've been a great competitor. I really appreciate the support of the series. It's awesome to see Vinny up there battling for the championship. He's become the king of the crowns, as I like to call him. He's won so many of these things, and it was a great season to see so many different guys up there battling for it. And I don't know what the points are going to come down to. You can hear the dejection in your voice. I love that in a competitor. I love when they get down on themselves in the right way. And I'm really hoping that next season you're going to come back stronger. You're going to come back a little bit more with a little bit more experience with these cars. And I'm looking to see an awesome season next season. And I hope we don't have to put you on suicide watch or anything like that. But I can hear the dejection in your voice. And I hope that you know that we appreciate everything you've done. We appreciate the season you put on. Vinny, Ryan, you guys are great race car drivers. I love what you guys have done. Vinny, you're a great champion. You're a great ambassador of the sport. And I really appreciate everything you guys are doing to make this stuff happen. So I hope you can walk away here, maybe tomorrow morning, wake up, feel good about the season, Paul. And I appreciate everything else you guys have done.
You're not going to see me jumping out any buildings anytime soon. I'm just going to, go into next season and try to win it, pretty much. That's my strategy. Now I know what I'm doing wrong, and I'm just going to fix it, and I'm going to go out and try to win.
Good stuff. Vinny Sansone, sounds like you have just been put on notice, my friend.
Oh, that's good. Well, we always like competition.
For sure.
We're going to move it along now, and something we don't normally have here on ETV Live here is the second split winner. Mark Hefner, you won the second split tonight in the Silver Crown Series. Tell us about your race.
It was a hard-fought battle. Don Fitzgerald and Chris George and George Hagan and I got out to a little bit of 4-car lead and took off from the rest of the pack, and it ended up coming down to 3 cars. And Don earlier in the week had a nice win on Monday, and I knew he was going to be tough. And Chris George is always good at Homestead, and I just picked my spot with 5 to go, and it worked.
Definitely, and Mark, you've been no stranger to the Silver Crown Series when we do have you in the top split as well. What are your thoughts on this season as far as racing with the Silver Crown guys, and what are your thoughts about next season?
Well, I didn't take this year. I took kind of this season off. I've cherry picked some races that I just to get my credits in for the season, but I was setting up for next year, for the next season. I wanted to. I had some hard feelings after last season. I led most of the division last year, and in the last 2 weeks, I lost the championship and finished 3rd. So I know how Paul feels, and it's a little bit of a dejection when you've raced so hard and you have the championship slip away. So this season, I decided I wasn't going to take it serious. I was going to work on some things, and I had some things outside the racing world that distracted me. So I knew that would affect my on-track performance. But coming into the end of the season here, I feel like I'm getting back into form, and I'll be able to compete with whatever division I'm going to end up in, whether it's 3 or 4 next year, and I hope I can bring home a championship.
Everybody, that's Mark Hefner, your second split winner tonight, and I'm going to throw it to you, Eddie. You have something special you'd like to talk about.
I do, but before we do, I just I wanted Mark. When I saw that Mark won the B main there, I was excited. Mark's been a really good friend of the series. He's been very helpful behind the scenes. A lot of people don't know just some of the things that he's done for the organization. Matter of fact, in one of our most important sim rigs, there's a graphic card in there from Mark's bargain basement deals. But Mark's been a real good friend of the series, and he had some tough luck set last season. So I was excited to see him get some good luck and get a win out there and close the season off. So I'm hoping to see him again next season. But Mark, I do appreciate all you do. And I know that you've been helpful here, and I'm excited for you to have some good luck going into the iRace Pink events here, which we've got coming up next week. I know that last season we just had the one night, and we had there was some crazy swings with that race last year, but I think the format works well, and I think we had a lot of fun with it last year. Looking forward to adding the Chet Wheeler, or the Art Wheeler Memorial Race on the 23rd with the Tour Mods and the late models, and then the Alan Binder's Beauty and Beast Charity Challenge. So anybody who wants to know more information about that, go to iracepink.com, and you can either register to race, or you can find out why we chose the Breast Cancer Research Foundation. The easy answer is that 96 cents of every single dollar that they take in is turned back around and put into programs to fight breast cancer. So they're one of the best charities out there for that. And I'm pretty excited about that, having 2 nights this week. So anybody who wants to know more about that, go to iracepink.com. I couldn't ask for a better season. Evan, you, Justin, JD, John, you guys done an awesome job. I'm blessed to have found you guys, and I really appreciate all the effort you guys do. There's so many people, they watch the broadcast, they just don't know what the guys here at ETV Live put in into making it look the way that it does. And when you watch the other broadcasts out there, there's a lot of great broadcasters, but there's just so many little things that ETV does that I was blessed when Vinny introduced me to these guys, and I love what they do, and I love their hard work, love their work ethic. Sometimes JD and I are working together 2-3 o'clock in the morning trying to get things done, or looking towards the future. But I thank you guys. This season here come to a close. We had a great season. I'm looking forward to moving forward to the next one.
Thanks for the kind words, Eddie. Evan, final thought.
A great way to close out the season. Thanks to Eddie also for giving us the opportunity to broadcast such great races, some of the best racing that we've seen on ETV in a while. I know JD loves the short track stuff, so a lot of great stuff. Again, great race to kick it off. Unfortunately, wasn't able to be here the last 2 weeks, had some other things going on, but it was great to be able to come back for the finale here, and just a great organization, a bunch of great drivers put 100% into it week in and week out.
And I'm going to tell you guys, this is some of the best short track racing I've ever seen, whether it's real life or in the virtual world. Credit to Vinny Sansone for almost taking every leg in the Triple Crown Series in each division. Nathan Saxon, credit to him in the Tour Modified. Stops the run from Vinny Sansone, getting it done. Great job by all the drivers involved. Ryan the Madman Steele, Paul Williams with exciting but close finishes and just coming up that little bit short. And even in the Tour Modifies, Mr. Excitement TJ Graves putting on a hell of a show. Great job by everybody involved, and I look forward to doing this more often. Got to thank John Wessling down in the Hollywood Hotel tonight running the cameras. He's going to take a little bit of a break here. Well-deserved from him. He's put in a lot of hard work behind the scenes here at ETV Live. And El Jefe, the boss, JD, the cowboy, he does a great job as well getting everything lined up. And I've got to thank everybody for running these series and making the show really, really great. And you make our jobs really, really easy. But again, great job. And everybody, we'll see you next week for the iRace Pink Benefits series, both Wednesday and Thursday night, with the Art Wheeler Memorial and the Alan Binder Beauty and Beast contest on Thursday night. For Eddie Walczyk, Evan Pasoko, John Wessling, and JD the Cowboy, my name is Justin Rosenau. We'll see you next week, guys.